ever swiped right and immediately wondered if you made the right call? Well, today on Investing Talk Podcast, we're going to be looking at Match Group, the
Okay.
company behind Tinder, Hinge, Cupid, and more, to see if their stock, MTCH, is a match for
Interesting.
your portfolio after their recent Q4 2024 earnings report.
Makes sense.
Match Group is a giant in the online dating world,
For sure.
but their latest report
Yeah.
is sending some mixed signals.
It is a fascinating case.
Yeah.
Match Group shows overall revenue growth, but a decline in users,
Right.
which definitely raises some eyebrows.
For sure, for sure.
Makes you wonder what's going on beneath the surface.
Exactly. So let's unpack those numbers.
Okay.
Match Group's full-year revenue is up 3% to $3.5 billion.
Wow.
Not too shabby.
Not bad.
But they also saw a 5% drop in paying users.
Huh.
So fewer people are subscribing, but the ones who are spending more.
Interesting.
What do you make of that?
Well, it highlights a potential shift in user behavior. Higher revenue per pair suggests those who find value in the platform are willing to invest more.
Yeah.
However, the shrinking user base could signal that acquiring new subscribers is becoming a challenge.
Right.
It makes you wonder if people are finding other ways to connect, or
Yeah.
if perhaps they're becoming disillusioned with the paid dating app model as a whole.
That's a really good point. Maybe they're moving to Hinge,
Ah,
which is actually owned by Match Group, but seems to be attracting a different
right.
kind of
With
user.
similar demographic.
They reported a whopping 39% jump in revenue.
Wow.
It's huge.
That is huge.
On the other hand, Tinder, their flagship app, saw revenue drop by 3%.
Oh, wow.
Why do you think we're seeing such a difference in performance within the same company?
Hinge's success could be attributed to its focus on more meaningful connections.
Okay.
Perhaps users tired of Tinder's reputation for casual encounters are migrating to Hinge, seeking a platform that caters to building relationships. It speaks to the evolving landscape of online dating and the need for companies like Match Group to adapt to changing user preferences.
So Tinder might need a bit of a makeover to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And it seems Match Group thinks AI could be the key.
Mm-hmm.
They're investing heavily in artificial intelligence for features like personalized recommendations
Okay.
and even double dating with other couples.
Interesting.
It sounds like they're really leaning into this technology.
Absolutely. And this aligns with a broader trend we're seeing across the tech industry.
Okay.
Companies are recognizing the power of AI to enhance user experiences and provide more personalized services.
Right.
For Match Group, it's not just a trendy addition, it's a strategic move to re-engage existing users and attract new ones.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how users respond to these AI-driven features and whether they translate into increased engagement and subscriptions.
It's a gamble for sure.
It is.
But Match Group isn't putting all its eggs in the AI basket. They're also expanding aggressively into new markets, particularly in Asia and Latin America,
Makes sense.
with platforms like Pairs and BLK.
I see.
Could this international expansion be the key to offsetting slower growth in Western markets?
International expansion is definitely a logical step for a company looking to grow its user base, but it's not without its challenges.
Right.
Dating app preferences and cultural norms vary significantly across the globe.
Yeah,
What works in one market might not resonate in another.
of course.
Match Group will need to carefully navigate cultural nuances, adapt its platforms to local preferences,
Sure.
and overcome language barriers to succeed in these new territories.
It's like they need to learn the language of love
Yeah.
in different cultures.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of keeping things interesting, Match Group also announced a dividend of $0.76 per share annually and a massive $1.5 billion share buyback program.
Wow.
Why are they doing this, and what does it signal to potential investors?
These actions suggest that Match Group is focused on delivering shareholder value. Dividends provide a steady income stream for investors, making the stock more attractive to those seeking passive income. Share buybacks reduce the number of shares available in the market, which can boost the value of the remaining shares.
Gotcha.
However, some might see these moves as a way to appease investors in light of the declining user base and potential future uncertainty.
Right.
It's essential for investors to consider both sides of the coin.
So it's not just about swiping right on the stock. It's about understanding the whole picture, right?
Exactly.
Now let's get to the nitty-gritty of their Q4 2024 earnings. They missed their earnings per share estimates.
Earnings per share, or EPS, is a key metric that tells us how much profit a company makes for each share of its stock.
Right.
Missing these estimates usually sends a negative signal to investors.
But here's this twist. their stock price actually went up after the announcement.
Hmm.
How is that possible?
That is where things get interesting. It suggests that investors are looking beyond the immediate earnings miss and focusing on other positive signs. Well, Match Group reaffirmed its 2025 revenue guidance, signaling confidence in their future growth prospects.
Okay.
They also emphasized cost-cutting measures which can improve profitability in the long run.
Got it.
Investors may be seeing these factors as positive indicators for the company's long-term health and potential for future growth, outweighing the short-term earnings miss.
So even though they didn't hit the mark this quarter, investors are still optimistic about their long-term prospects.
Yeah,
That's a really important takeaway.
it is. It seems the market is placing its bets on Match Group's ability to navigate the changing dynamics of the dating landscape.
So after looking at all these factors, the question on everyone's mind is this. Is MTCH a stock you should swipe right on?
That's the million-dollar question, and like in any dating scenario, there's no easy answer. Match Group has a lot of potential,
Right.
but also faces significant challenges.
Let's break it down. On the positive side, their international expansion could open up huge new markets, and their AI investments could potentially revitalize their existing platforms, especially Tinder.
Yes, and we can't forget the dividend and the share buyback program, which are attractive for income-seeking investors and could signal confidence in the company's future. But those positives come with a caveat.
You're talking about the shrinking user base, right?
Mm.
And the fact that Tinder, their most recognizable app, is struggling.
Precisely. Hinge's success is encouraging, but it's still a relatively small part of their overall business. The big question is whether they can turn things around for Tinder and make it relevant again. Can they adapt to evolving user preferences and find ways to re-engage a generation that may be growing weary of the traditional swiping experience?
And can they successfully navigate those cultural differences you mentioned earlier and make their international expansion truly profitable?
That's a critical point. Global expansion can be a double-edged sword. It presents tremendous growth opportunities, but also comes with unique challenges. Match Group needs to strike a delicate balance between maintaining a global brand identity and tailoring their platforms to resonate with local cultures and preferences.
So a lot of potential, some risks, and a lot riding on Match Group's ability to adapt and execute its strategy. What can investors look at to make a more informed decision beyond just the company's own reports?
Well, we can look at technical analysis for some clues. Right now, MTCH is looking slightly bullish. The price is trading above its 50-day and 200-day moving averages.
Hold on. For those of us who don't speak fluent stock market, what exactly do moving averages tell us?
Think of them as trend indicators. They smooth out price fluctuations over a specific period, giving investors a clearer picture of the stock's general direction. A stock trading above its moving averages is generally considered a positive sign, suggesting upward momentum.
So that's a point in MTCH's favor.
It is. However, it's important to note that some analysts are expressing caution, pointing to the declining user base and the possibility that the stock might be overbought.
Overbought meaning?
It means the price may have risen too quickly and could be due for a correction. It's like a dating app profile that looks too good to be true. You want to be cautiously optimistic.
So mixed signals from the experts, just like with Match Group's performance itself. What advice would you give to our listeners who are considering investing in MTCH? Should they go for it, or are there too many red flags?
I think the most important thing is to approach this decision like you would any potential match, with careful consideration and a healthy dose of due diligence. Don't just jump in head first based on surface-level information. Dig deeper.
What does that look like in the investing world?
It means going beyond the headlines and the analyst ratings. Look at Match Group's financial statements, read their earnings reports, carefully understand their business model, and research their competitors. Most importantly, think about whether you believe in their long-term vision. Do you think they can successfully navigate the evolving dating landscape and maintain their leadership position? Are they adapting fast enough to capture new markets and changing user preferences?
It's about making an informed decision, not just a quick swipe.
Exactly. And remember, dating is about finding the right match for your individual goals and risk tolerance.
So no matter what you decide, make sure it's a decision you feel confident in. That's sound advice for both dating and investing. So there you have it, folks. Our take on Match Group, a company at a crossroads, facing both exciting opportunities and significant challenges. The question remains, will they find the perfect match for their business strategy in this ever-changing landscape? We've explored the financials, the strategies, the potential pitfalls, and the big question mark hanging over Match Group's future. What's your final takeaway? What should our listeners be thinking about as they consider MTCH?
I think the key takeaway here is that Match Group is at a pivotal point. They have a strong foundation and a dominant market position, but they're also facing headwinds that can't be ignored.
Like a relationship that needs a little stark.
Precisely. They need to find ways to reignite growth, adapt to evolving user preferences, and successfully navigate the complexities of international expansion. Their success hinges on their ability to execute their strategies effectively.
And for investors, that means doing their homework and deciding if they believe in Match Group's vision for the future.
Exactly. Do you think they can adapt to the changing landscape of online dating? Do their investments in AI and international expansion make sense to you? And are you comfortable with the level of risk involved? These are all questions investors need to grapple with before making a decision.
And speaking of the changing landscape of online dating, it begs a bigger question. What does the future hold for this industry? What trends do you see emerging, and what should investors be paying attention to?
That's a fascinating question. I think we're going to see continued innovation in the ways people connect online. AI will undoubtedly play a larger role personalizing the dating experience and potentially even predicting compatibility. We might also see the rise of niche dating apps catering to specific interests, lifestyles, or demographics.
So even more options for finding that perfect match. It's both exciting and a little overwhelming.
It certainly is, and for investors, it presents both opportunities and challenges. It's a rapidly evolving landscape that requires careful analysis and a willingness to adapt to new trends.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our take on Match Group MTCH, a company that's both a leader in its industry and a reflection of the ever-changing dynamics of human connection.
Remember, investing like online dating involves risk. Do your research, understand the company, and make informed decisions that align with your investment goals.
And who knows? Maybe your next big investment win will be a perfect match. If you enjoyed today's episode on Investing Talk Podcast, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives into fascinating companies and industries. And as always, we love hearing from you. Leave a comment and tell us what you think about the future of online dating.
Until next time, happy investing.